Hello guys, so in this video we're going to see an apothecary farming strategy. We're going to be talking about the setup that I'm currently running, then we're going to start talking about the total investment that we need to start doing this endgame strategy. Since we are aiming for an apothecary, we want to see the full spectrum of the drops of the item, especially the apothecary, and that means that we have to at least prepare a huge batch of maps. And finally, I'm going to show you the test run that I'm currently running, and you're also going to have a sneak peek about how it currently is going. Starting from its setup, it has the base ideas to farm divination cards such as the ambush and the divination scarabs, and you're also using the enraged and extra strongbox sextants. The rest of the stuff is my special tweak that I consider that is the best way to farm the strategy and to have the best chance to drop the cards, and also without making the strategy just insanely expensive. So like I said, we are going to be using the ambush scarab that has more boxes. We are also using the divination scarab that increases the chance for the divination cards to drop in our maps. And then I'm adding the Legion Scarab. This is especially because Legion has a ton of rare mobs, and that means that those mobs are going to have some special modifiers, and that will stack pretty well with all the other modifiers that we are already adding into our maps. Then you're using the Bridge Scarab because, again, in this case it adds a lot of monsters, and we're also going to be increasing that amount of monsters even further using the Altas Tree. For the sextants, we are of course using the Enraged Strongbox 1. This is the most expensive sextant in our set. And then we are going to be adding some extra strongboxes because we want to take the full advantage of the Enraged Sextant, since it's pretty good for the divination cards. Then I'm adding the sextant that's pretty cheap, and that is to increase the magic mobs, the pack size of the magic mobs. And since our maps has so many stuff inside of it, this is going to be greatly to increase the amount of monsters we kill per map, and therefore increasing a little bit further the chance of dropping the apothecary card. And for the last sextant, we are using the extra pack of monsters. This actually not only adds magic mobs, it also adds some normal mobs and some rare mobs too. And finally, for the map device, I'm using the harbingers, and they, again, a lot of monsters. Some of them are magic, some of them are rare, but yeah, that's going to be a ton of mobs. For the map, I'm running this strategy in the Crimson Township, and the reason of why I'm not doing the usual Crimson Temple or the Cathedral, it's because since I'm using the Bridge and the Legion, I need a layout as open as possible, and the Crimson Township is the most open one from the 4 ones that can drop the apothecary card, so that's why this is my go-to. I'm rolling my maps, of course, chiseling and Alekin, and I'm well rolling them. This means that I'm using scourings for every map that did roll a quantity below 75, so all my maps are going to look like this, as the ones I'm showing in this example. It is going to have a high quantity, and it will indeed be a little bit harder since we will have a lot of mods. And finally, I'm adding 3 orbs of delirium in each map, so we're going to be running these maps into 60% of delirium. And then the reason is basically because the delirium adds some special modifiers that amplifies our quantity and our rarity inside of your maps, so that's pretty good for boosting a little bit more our chances to drop an apothecary. And I'm using the blue influence because these maps already drops a lot of stuff, so I don't want to be getting in and out using the portals to take the loot out of the map. So that's why I prefer to use the blue influence here, so I don't have to loot the chaos and any other of those bubblegum currencies. Instead, I'm trying to get as many quant altars as I can, and at the same time I'm taking a look to not miss a divine altar. So this is what my current Atlas tree looks like. We're going to be talking about all of the clusters that I got here, And we're going to start from the beginning. One thing to mention is that I have, so I'm only missing 1 point here from the feared. So yeah, take that in mind that I'm using 131 points here. We're going to be adding this strongbox cluster that is pretty mandatory for staff. We are adding another strongbox that is going to be affected by our enraged sextant, and then I'm going to path in this direction, and then I'm getting some of the bridge staff here. So as you can see, it's going to be adding more mobs in our maps. That is pretty good for a strategy. I'm taking this node for the maps. I'm actually thinking in taking them out. Then we're going to continue and get some of the Harbinger nodes. As I already mentioned, we're using the Harbingers in the map device. So we are fully speccing into Harbingers. We are going to add all of the nodes for the Harbies. And yeah, then we are going to add the map nodes here. This is also something that I'm considering to taking them out, since I really over sustaining. Let me show you quickly here. This is the loot from almost 50 maps, and when I search the township, as you can see, I run 50 maps and I already have a lot of maps. I think they are over 100 maps in total. So yeah, running the test run, the map nodes are actually not that necessary. So yeah, take that into consideration. If you don't have 131 points, you can perfectly take some of the map nodes out. Then of course the singular focus node to sustain the same map. We are in here more stuff about the strongbox. This is pretty good, since we have so many boxes. We are going to have a base chance for them to drop scarabs instead of trash, and the chances of opening the strong boxes 2 times. This is pretty good too, since we are investing a lot in these boxes. Then we have the quant wheel here and the small one too, and I'm adding the seance node here. Actually, the seance one is this one. So some of our rare mobs in your maps are going to have some special 30% more quantity, and that's also being amplified by the increased quantity that we have over here, and this will make actually some of the rare mobs actually to be possessed. So yeah, that's some extra boost. Then in this direction we have, of course, the blue influence, like I already mentioned. Since we are forcing the legions, we are having an extra. This is for extra loot basically, and then here to add more mobs and to make them a little bit easier, because don't forget we are doing these maps in 60% delirium. And you're also of course having the top hat here for all the multipliers in your map. This will increase even further quantity and rarity and pack size, so that's pretty good. I'm adding these nodes to have extra monsters in our breaches, and these nodes that are pretty good for the strong boxes, since we are opening so many of them. This multiplies our divination cards. So imagine if we get, that's not probable, I know, but imagine if you get an apothecary just from the loot from the strongbox itself, then that card will be duplicated. Yeah, so then I added this wing here for extra loot legions. This is basically just to have more stuff dropping from our maps. And the extra altars, since the altars are pretty good, as you might have already know, in this league the altars are busted. We're going to have more altars from these, and this will cause that we will get more often the chance to add more quantity in our maps. And of course, finally, I think that is the last stuff I need to talk, is the flash bridge. I like to do my maps fast. I don't like to spend 10 minutes doing a map, so I find the flash bridge pretty mandatory for this. And we're going to also have some of the chance to have more bridges in our maps, aside from the ones that we're already forcing it. And yeah, that's basically it for the other three. I'm going to leave a PNG or a capture screenshot in the description so you can take a look. So now let's talk about the test run that I'm currently running. I have done a setup of 100 maps using the what I have mentioned in the video. As you can see, I have a ton of Crimson Township maps here, a lot of the deli orbs to apply to these maps, and all the scarabs, and all a bunch of sextant, and a lot of chaos for the map device. And I will be releasing a part 2 video with the results of this test run, and we're going to see how good this strategy actually was. And it would be pretty good if I manage to drop an apothecary card. But let me tell you that even if I don't drop an apothecary, I will still be doing money. So don't think that running this strategy that you will start bleeding your currency. That's not true. I'm going to show you in the next video, because I have done almost half of the maps. I already have a projection about about how many currency I'm going to be ending with once I finish the 100 maps without the apothecary drop. And the last thing that I want to talk about is the total investment for this strategy. We're going to calculate all the investment that we do for each map, and after that we're going to be multiplying that amount for all the maps that we want to prepare in hindsight to run them all, and not to be disencouraged by the drops midway. So this is more a price when you're starting this strategy for the first time, since once you start doing it, you're going to be dropping more maps. So you aren't going to be buying more maps because you are self-sustaining, right? So anyways, each map can be bought in bulk for 5C. Then we have the delirium orbs, that each one costs 5C. But this is not true if you buy them in bulk. I already talked a little bit about this thing in my last video that I uploaded about the orb farming strategy. The orbs, when you try to buy even the bad ones, try to buy them in bulk, you're going to see in the trade side that they are actually at around a price of 15 C each one of them. So that's 200 more than the initial price that I am showing you now. But the idea is that you should be or farming yourself the deli orbs by doing the strategy from my last video, doing strand runs. Or I would say that try to buy from TFT and trying to snipe alongside other people. Those two ways, I think that they are the best. Then for the sextant, the enraged ones, like I mentioned, is the most expensive from all the sextants. It's 34 C each. In total, you can buy one for 4 uses at around 130 chaos. I bought basically all of them in a range of 120 and 130 chaos each one. So that'll be 34 for each map. Then for the ambush, I got them for 8C, so that's 2C per map. Then the other one, the monster pack ones, I got for 5C in TFT in bulk. Just bought 25 of them. I did only one trade. Then the same for the magic pack size, 2 of them. They're pretty cheap. They have a high offer, so don't bother going to trade. So just buy them in bulk. They're pretty cheap, and even in bulk. Then we have the scarabs. The Legion one is 6.5. I bought them for 6.5 chaos. The divination is pretty expensive. It's around 14 to 15 chaos each. Then we have the ambush scarab. All the scarabs, just to mention, they are all gilded, so have that in mind. The ambush 10C, the bridge 10C, and the map device for the harbingers costs 60 each per map. So that's it's a total of 95.5 chaos, or around 0.382 divines per map. So that means that for the test run that I'm currently running, I spent almost 40 divines. And I would suggest you to first farm some currency to then jump into this strategy, because running 10 and 20 maps won't make a difference, and you won't see all this full spectrum of the drops, and you can be actually unlucky and don't get any divines or any of the good stuff and you won't be making much money. Actually the strategy is pretty good once you drop the apothecary, and sooner or later you will drop it, but you have to run a lot of maps for that. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this strategy. I will encourage you, of course, to get the enough currency to run this. And finally, to end the video, I'm going to show you a sneak peek of the currently loot that I got by running these maps. This is the total loot that I got from 44 maps, so that's less than half of all the maps that I'm going to run. And as you can see, I got a total amount of 37 divines in total value, of course, from a lot of items. But as you can see, with only 44 maps, I'm already paying my full investment, even without an apothecary drop. So have that in mind, that you don't need to drop the apothecary in order to make some money. Of course, the returns aren't going to be that good, and once you drop the apothecary, your profits are going to skyrocket. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say for this strategy. Like I said, I will upload a second part with the full results and with all the conclusions about the test run and the strategy and what could be improved for the next time. So yeah, see you guys.